Welcome to the 36th Annual Mississippi College Academic Competition. The competition began the year with 26 teams from high schools across the state. Teams are matched in quiz-like competition utilizing questions developed and tested for the high school level. Our goal is to recognize academic knowledge, to encourage learning, and to foster a spirit of competition and fair play. We have reached the semifinals. This match features Madison Central versus Jackson Prep. Let's meet the teams.
Madison Central, Eric Chen, Senior.
Shrey Madali, Senior.
Cameron Fowler, Senior.
Amy Lynn, Senior.
Carson Jones, Junior.
Drew Dunn, Senior.
Jackson Prep, Burton O'Brien, Senior.
David Cruz, Senior.
Hogan Privet, Senior.
Ty UC, Junior.
Here is the first question of round 1 for 5 points. What name is given to compounds containing only carbon and hydrogen?
Jackson Prep, time.
Hydrocarbon.
Yes.
For 10 points, which word completes the proverb, laugh and the world laughs with you, weep and you weep blank?
Jackson Prep, Verdon.
Alone.
Yes.
For 10 points, the trilogy of George Lucas's Star Wars films returned to the theaters in 1997. 2 of the films were Star Wars and Return of the Jedi. What was the name of the third?
Jackson Prep, David.
The Empire Strikes Back.
Yes.
For 20 points, before becoming Vice President of the U.S., who was Governor of New York from 1959 to 19...
Jackson Prep, time.
Rockefeller.
Yes.
For 15 points, in which Scandinavian country is Bergen the second largest city?
Jackson Prep, time.
Norway.
Yes.
A math question for 10 points. If the edge of a cube is doubled, by what factor is its volume multiplied?
Madison Central, Eric.
8.
Yes.
A toss-up for 10 points. Name the former world leader who is the subject of the play Mein Kampf.
Jackson Prep, David.
Adolf Hitler.
Yes.
A math question for 10 points. If A is 10 more than B, with the ratio of A to B equal to 3/4, what is the value of A?
Jackson Prep, time.
40.
No.
Same side.
Madison Central, Eric.
-30.
Yes.
Correct. Here is a toss-up for 10 points. Which word completes the proverb, here today, gone blank?
Madison Central, Eric.
Tomorrow.
Yes.
For 10 points, identify the U.S. president who issued a proclamation of a formal cessation of World War II hostilities on December the 31st,
Madison Central, Cameron.
Truman.
Yes.
For 10 points, during endocytosis, particles and solutes are brought into the cell. Name the process.
Madison Central, Eric.
Exocytosis.
Correct. Toss up for 10 points. The River Clyde flows past Scotland's largest city. Name the city.
Jackson Prep, time.
Edinburgh.
No. Madison Central, Shriya.
Glasgow.
Yes.
For 10 points, which word from French designates all of the following? A coordinated outfit, a group of performers playing or singing together,
Jackson Prep, Hogan.
Rendezvous.
No.
and a work for performance by such a group.
Madison Central, Shriya.
Choreograph.
No.
Ensemble is the word that we were looking for. A 10-point toss-up. The phenomenon known as El Nino brings a pool of warm water to South America, distorting the pattern of fast-flowing air above North America. By what 2-word name is this west to east stream of fast-flowing air that airplanes
Madison Central, Eric.
Gulfstream.
No.
take advantage of known?
Jackson Prep, time.
Jetstream.
That's correct. For 15 points. Identify the German Jewish immigrant who developed blue jeans, known popularly as Levi's.
Jackson Prep, time.
Levi.
No.
Known popularly as Levi's.
Madison Central, Cameron.
Strauss.
Yes.
Strauss it is. A math question for 10 points. A basketball team that was losing 50-45 with 4 minutes left in the game won the game by a score of 60-55. What percent of the points scored in the final 4 minutes did the winning team accumulate?
Madison Central, Cameron.
60%.
No. Jackson Prep, David.
75%.
Yes.
That's correct. A 10-point toss-up. Identify the artist whose Acrobat and Young Harlequin, painted in 1905 during his Rose period, was sold for $38.5 million in 1988. At that time, the most ever paid for a 20th century work of art.
Jackson Prep, David.
Andy Warhol.
No. Madison Central, Shriel.
Picasso.
Yes.
Correct. A 20-point toss-up. Name the 13th century Christian theologian who said earthly rulers can be disobeyed when state laws disagree with the laws of nature or of God.
Jackson Prep, Ty.
Aquinas.
Yes.
For 20 points, identify the Aldous Huxley novel about the future whose title.
Jackson Prep, Ty.
Brave New World.
Yes.
For 10 points, who is the current U.S. Secretary of State?
Madison Central, Shriel.
Mike Pompeo.
Yes.
For 20 points. That's the end of round one. We'll be back in a moment with a preliminary score. At the end of our first round of competition, the score is Madison Central 95, Jackson Prep 130. Let's proceed to the second round. Here's the first toss-up worth 20 points. Which term beginning with the letter C designates a musical composition for voices, often with instrumental accompaniment, used as a setting for a story to be sung but not acted?
Madison Central, Cameron.
Choral?
No.
Time, correct answer, cantata. Another toss-up for 10 points. Identify the two African countries whose names end in the letters YA.
Jackson Prep, Ty.
Libya and Kenya.
Yes.
That is correct, so we're going to let you go on to the bonus question. Identify each of the following concerning headquarters. For 5 points, U.S. state capitol in which the world's largest Coca-Cola sign was lit in 1990 at, no, it's not a toss-up here, it's their bonus over there, at the site of the world headquarters for the Coca-Cola Company.
Atlanta.
Correct, for 10 points. In which world capital does NATO have its headquarters? It held its 50th anniversary summit here in 1999.
Somewhere in North America, right? New York would be my guess, but
Need an answer, please?
Washington, D.C.
No.
No, for 10 points.
Brussels.
Yes.
Brussels it is. Back to a toss-up for 10 points. Name the Roman god of all beginnings, usually represented.
Madison Central, Shriel.
Janus.
Yes.
That's correct. Here's your bonus question. Identify each of the following parts of a flower. For 5 points, female reproductive organ located at the center of the flower.
Pistil.
Yes.
For 10 points, pollen-bearing organ made up of a slender stalk and a pollen sac.
Anther.
No.
For 10 points,
Style.
Jackson Prep.
Style.
No.
No, stamen is the word that we were looking for. A 15-point toss-up. What name is given to the theory asserting that if a key country falls to communism?
Jackson Prep, Ty.
Domino theory.
That is correct. Here's your bonus question. Identify each of the following concerning U.S. history. For 5 points. U.S. President who established the National Foundation for Infantile Paralysis in 1938 to combat an epidemic of poliomyelitis.
FDR.
Yes.
For 10 points. Home of the Lost Colony, the one established by the English in 1587, from which all settlers disappeared, including Virginia Dare, the first English child born in the New World.
Is it Roanoke?
Roanoke.
Yes.
Correct. For 15 points. Former U.S. president who was defeated for re-election by by Grover Cleveland, and later represented Venezuela in a boundary dispute.
Wait, who Grover Cleveland defeated him? That's my guess.
Garfield.
No.
No, for 15 points.
Benjamin Harrison.
Yes.
That is correct.
I'll have
A math toss-up for 10 points. If the hypotenuse of an isosceles right triangle has length 10, what is the length of the altitude?
Madison Central, Eric.
5 square root of 2.
No. What is the length of the altitude from the right angle to the hypotenuse?
Prep. David.
2.5.
No.
No, it's 5. Here is a toss-up for 10 points. What name designates colored glass cut into pieces and reassembled in windows?
Madison Central, Eric.
Stained. Stained.
Yeah, I'll take that.
All right. Identify each of the following cities for 5 points. The U.S.'s oldest city or oldest permanent settlement established by Europeans.
St. Augustine.
Yes.
For 10 points. California city in which the United Nations was formed in 1945.
L.A.
No.
No, for 10 points, Jackson Prep.
San Francisco.
Yes.
It is San Francisco. A 20-point toss-up. The Strait of Magellan separates the southern tip of South America from which group of islands whose name means land of fire?
Jackson Prep. Tie.
Islas del Fuegos.
Try it again.
The island's called Tierra del Fuego.
Yes. I'll take that.
All right. You still have a bonus here, Jackson Prep. Identify each of the following concerning science and mythology. For 5 points. Northern constellation between Cygnus and Aquarius, named for the mythological winged horse created from the blood or neck of Medusa.
Pegasus.
Yes.
For 10 points. Metal named for the giants of myth who once ruled the universe and used to cover Spain's Guggenheim Museum Bilbao.
Titanium.
Yes.
For 15 points, Saturn's satellite that shares its name with a mythological sea nymph on the island of Ogygia, Jacques Cousteau's ship, and a type of Caribbean folk music.
Calypso.
And for 20 points, Antarctic volcano on James Ross Island that shares its name with the mythological darkness under the earth through which the dead pass to reach the realm of Pluto.
Erebus.
Yeah.
Okay. That is the end of round 2. We'll be back in a moment with a preliminary score. At the end of 2 rounds, our score, Madison Central 150, Jackson Prep 255. Let's proceed to round 3. Our first toss-up is a math question for 10 points. The product of 20 times 122 is how much greater than the product of 202 times 12?
Madison Central, Eric.
308.
No.
No.
Toss up. This is toss up. Jackson Prep. Tie.
2,400 and wait.
No.
No,
I
correct
said it
answer is
wrong.
actually 16. All right. A toss-up for 10 points. Name the physical constant denoted by a lowercase c in the field of electromagnetics.
Madison Central, Shriya.
The speed of light.
Yes.
Correct. Here's your bonus question. Identify each of the following cradles for 5 points. U.S. state capitol on the Charles River, nicknamed the Cradle of Liberty.
Boston.
Yes.
Boston it is for 10 points. U.S. state capitol, first nicknamed the Cradle of the Confederacy in 1861.
Richmond.
No.
And no for 10 points. Jackson Prep.
Montgomery.
That is correct. Back to a toss-up question for 20 points. If an atom of mass, you may need your pencil. If an atom of mass 20 and atomic number 10 undergoes 1 alpha and 1 beta decay, what are the new mass and atomic number?
Jackson Prep. David.
10 and 5.
No. Madison Central, Cameron.
15 and 9.
That's correct.
All right, here is your bonus question. Identify each of the following concerning treaties for 5 points. Midwest's oldest city, which was ceded to the U.S. by Jay's Treaty in 1794 and became the automobile capital of the world.
Detroit.
Yes.
For 10 points. Treaty ending the American Revolutionary War.
Treaty of Paris. 1783. Treaty of Paris, 1783.
I'm sorry, what was the last part?
1783.
Correct.
Yep.
For 15 points. Latin American country whose Senate rejected the 1903 Hay-Haran Treaty that John Hay had negotiated for building a canal there.
Panama.
No.
No, for 15 points.
Colombia.
Yes.
Colombia it is. For 10 points, identify, this is a toss-up again. Identify Pixar's 203 computer animated,
2003.
2003. Identify Pixar's 2003 computer animated film about a single-parent clownfish.
Jackson Prep. Verdon.
Finding Nemo.
Yes.
Finding Nemo it is. Here is your bonus question. Identify each of the following terms used in physics by giving an answer beginning with the letter S. For 5 points. Which four-letter term beginning with S is used in physics to designate the intrinsic angular momentum of a subatomic particle?
Spin.
Yes.
For 10 points. Sudden, sharp peak in a motion, voltage, or current.
Stop. Slide.
Spike.
Yes.
Correct. For 15 points. Condition of a substance with regard to composition, form, or structure.
State.
State.
Yes.
And for 20 points, condition in which all or most disturbances have been eliminated from a system.
Stasis.
Stasis.
No.
For 20 points, Madison Central.
Stable.
Stable.
No.
Steady state is what we were looking for. A 15-point toss-up. Name the Macedonian king who conquered the ancient city of Cyrene in northern Africa in 331 BC.
Jackson Prep. David.
Alexander the Great.
Yes.
Correct. Here is your bonus question. Identify each of the following new words. Merriam-Webster adds new words to the dictionary only when they have already been used by many people. In 2018, they added 840 new words to their dictionary. Here's the first one for 5 points. An operating mode for an electronic device in which the device does not connect to wireless networks and cannot send or receive communications such as calls or text messages or access the internet, but remains usable for other functions.
Airplane or do not disturb. Yeah, sure.
Airplane mode.
Yes.
Correct for 10 points. Irritable or angry because of hunger.
Angry.
Hangry.
Hangry for 15 points. What type of text do computer programs use when words are inserted based on or generated by using methods to guess your next entry?
Autocorrect.
Autocorrect.
No.
No, for 15 points, Madison Central.
Autofill.
No.
No, it's called predictive. Predictive. That's the end of our third round. We'll be back in a minute with the preliminary score. After 3 rounds of competition, our score, Madison Central 200, Jackson Prep 340. Let's go to our last round. First toss-up for 20 points. After escaping and settling in Massachusetts in 1838, fugitive slave Frederick Augustus Washington Bailey adopted the surname Douglas, borrowed from the hero of Lady of the Lake, a fictional work by which Scottish author?
Madison Central. Cameron.
Doyle.
No.
Time correct answers, Walter Scott. A 10-point toss-up. The USS Louisiana, which was officially commissioned on September the 6th, 1997, after having arrived at its home port in Kings Bay, Georgia, was the 18th and last submarine of which class of ships?
Jackson Prep. Tad.
Virginia.
No.
Their name also identifies Neptune's 3-pronged spear.
Madison Central. Shriel.
Trident.
Yes.
For 10 points, a heat-resisting glass will result if the limestone normally used in glass production is replaced by oxides of which 2 elements whose chemical symbols are Al and B?
Jackson Prep. David.
Aluminum and boron.
Yes.
For 10 points, what was Andrew Jackson's best-known nickname?
Jackson Prep. Tad.
Old Hickory.
Yes.
For 10 points, which word meaning an affirmation of beliefs or a statement testifying to the truth of something?
Jackson Prep, time.
Knock on wood.
No.
Is the title of a John Grisham novel published in 1999.
Madison Central, Cameron.
Testament.
Yes.
For 10 points, which term is used to designate the use of computers to attack an enemy's information systems
Jackson Prep, Verdon.
Hacking.
No.
rather than his army?
Madison Central, Cameron.
Cyber warfare.
Yes.
Correct, for 10 points. President Bush's use of the term Axis in 2002 was reminiscent of World War II rhetoric originally applied to which two countries united against the
Madison
Allies?
Central, Cameron.
Germany and Japan.
Yes. Say it again.
Germany and Japan.
No. Jackson Prep, time.
Germany and Italy.
Yes.
Correct, for 10 points. Give the more common names for the Aurora Borealis and the Aurora.
Jackson Prep, David.
The Northern Lights and the Southern Lights.
Yes.
For 10 points. Besides the bassoon and the oboe, which other two woodwinds are basic instruments in an orchestra?
Madison Central, Eric.
Flute and clarinet.
Yes.
For 15 points, name the inventor who made the sewing machine a universal household appliance.
Madison Central, Cameron.
Whitney.
No?
Jackson Prep, time.
Smith.
No, Singer, Isaac Singer. A 10-point toss-up. Which group known as the DAR would not allow Miriam Anderson to perform in Constitution Hall in Washington, D.C. in
Madison Central, Cameron.
Daughters of the American Revolution.
Yes.
A 15-point toss-up. Identify the German-born composer considered to be the greatest genius of Baroque music. He is known for his St. Matthew Passion.
Jackson Prep, David.
Handel.
No. Madison Central, Cameron.
Bach.
Yes.
Correct. For 15 points. Identify the Michigan city where Dr. John Harvey Kellogg created for a sanitarium the diet of vegetables and grains that helped launch the Kellogg Company. This city is nicknamed the Cereal City.
Jackson Prep, time.
Grand Rapids.
No. Madison Central, Cameron.
Lansing.
No, Battle Creek. For 10 points. Give the meaning of the initials AI as used in computer science.
Madison Central, Eric.
Artificial intelligence.
Yes.
A math question for 10 points. A man is sitting 1/3 of the distance from the end of a bench supported at both ends. What fraction of the man's weight is supported by the nearer end of the bench?
Jackson Prep, David.
2/3.
Correct, for 15 points. What unit named for a French physicist is dimensionally equivalent to 1 coulomb per second?
Madison Central, Shriel.
Joule?
No. Jackson Prep, David.
Ampere.
Yes.
For 20 points. Camden, New Jersey is the site of the home of which American poet known for his When Lilacs Last in the Dooryard Bloomed?
Jackson Prep, time.
Longfellow.
No.
Time, Walt Whitman. A 15-point toss-up. What term designates the organelle in the cytoplasm of animal cells serving to modify and transport proteins?
Madison Central, Eric.
Ribosomes.
No. Jackson Prep, time.
Golgi apparatus.
Yes.
For 15 points, which word beginning with the letter P designates all of the following? Rustic?
Nope.
That's the end of our competition. We'll be back in a moment with the final score. At the end of this competition, the final score, Madison Central 275, Jackson Prep 420. So Jackson Prep will advance to the finals.